Jim, I understand that you folks at American Enterprise Institute had a forum on Medicaid spending this week, and so what happened? What were some of the perspectives that you brought to that forum?
Well, there was a varied perspective, so I can't say that I spoke for the full group in terms of what I presented and what I had to say. There were some people who were very much saying Medicaid is a program in need of systemic reform, that it's gotten off track. There's lots of savings to be had there that won't harm people if you just get rid of a lot of the, as in the parlance of the current administration, waste, fraud, and abuse kind of angle. And of course, there's an element of truth to that. I don't want to deny that Medicaid is, run like an airtight program, because it's not. There's a lot of room for improvement. My points were the following. One, the project that the Medicaid savings is in service of is misguided. In other words, they're starting with, we're in a very deep fiscal hole. And the first thing out of the gate Republicans want to do is dig it a little deeper with some tax cuts, extension of tax cuts through a reconciliation process that really, we go through the history of that. But I mean, they're going to try to make the hole pretty substantially deeper, like 17 or 18% deeper, by extending a bunch of revenue provisions that lose more revenue in the long run. And then turn around, and because they need the votes to pass it, where there's some fiscal hawks saying, hey, wait a second, what about the deficit? They rule out Medicare, they rule out Social Security, they rule out, all kinds of, in fact, they want to go up on a lot of areas. The only thing left, basically, that's of consequence is Medicaid and SNAP, the nutrition program. And so they're piling as much savings as they can into those programs to try to secure the votes. So my first observation was, this is a misguided political project. They shouldn't be starting with a big extension of the tax provisions out of the gate, making the fiscal problem even worse, and then trying to figure out a way to make it slightly less worse through big changes just in basically Medicaid. I think that whole premise is flawed and should be rejected. So I said that. That wasn't in line with some of the thinking. But the other thing I said was that instead of focusing on Medicaid per se, they need to understand that Medicaid and its problems are associated with the larger health system and its problems. And we've made enrollment in Medicaid overly complex, and the premise of monthly eligibility is ridiculous, really, in the sense of, people's circumstances change on a month-by-month basis, and because of that, they might become eligible or ineligible for Medicaid. It's too much. You need to make it much more of an annualized process and not so month-to-month on income verification. Those are a couple of the points I made, and there, a lot of things around how do we fix the health system more generally.